Welcome yet again to another episode of Women in Business. We're always delighted to have you join us. This is Doreen Kemcha, and we are here, Women in Business on Smart 24 TV. Now, every time we have a new episode, we have an amazing lady, someone that can talk to you, someone that you can listen to, someone that has experiences, and most of the times these inspiring stories are meant to jumpstart you or to give you a reflective moment where you get to think about, should I do this? If I do this, will it work out this way? Whatever I'm doing right now, will it help me along the lines of business? Holistically, we look at you as the woman in business, but of course we also look at all the other different factors that affect you, and we try to help you out. On this particular episode, we've got an amazing lady. She is versatile. She has many coats, has many faces. You ought to know her because on this particular episode, we have Honorable Rachel Magola, also known as Mama Obangaina. Welcome.
Thank you.
A woman with many faces, many hats, many shoes.
You know, you've just described it. I'm saying, oh,
yes.
I'm actually a woman with many faces.
Yes.
And I never thought about it
Now,
like
let me tell them a little bit about the faces that you have. She is woman representative for Bugweri district. She's also a leader, a teacher, entrepreneur, and a family woman. Indeed, she has many different shades. You're welcome to this episode.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Why does it surprise you when we say you've got many faces? Why does it surprise you?
Because I've never said it myself.
Yes.
I don't look at myself as one with many faces until you articulated it for me.
Yes.
And that as women or as people, we tend to not to examine who we are.
Yeah.
And when you said it, I said, actually, I am.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, you are. You, Obangaina. And that particular celebrity status that you had and you still have right now, it goes with you until you pass away, you know?
I should hope so.
Yes, it goes with you. Because I think the Obangaina name stuck, and that is a legacy, part of the legacy that you are still building.
You know, when you say it's stuck, it reminds me on election day.
Yes.
When women and men and people went to the polling station and they were looking for Obangaina.
Yes.
And I was saying, she's not on the ballot. I see the picture, but I don't see the name. They actually believed that Obangaina was my name.
Because that is now a representation of who you are.
I am. That was so interesting. I was like, okay, now this has taken my name. I'm no longer Magola. Everybody calls me Obangaina.
Yes.
And practically everywhere, even in official capacity, any office I walk in, the first thing someone will say, Obangaina, there you are.
Yes.
I say, yes, this is me. So I don't argue with that anymore.
Isn't it weird? When I say weird, isn't it weird how we women tend to have very many faces? That I'm Doreen, yes? But sometimes you are mother, you are sister, you are community member, you are entrepreneur, you are this. People forget you as Doreen. They begin to see you for who you are to them, what you represent. What you represent. Right now, you represent that celebrity, that woman that chants out the music. Now, you also represent the leader. You are a mother to them. You are maybe money bag as well. You are money bag.
Yes, that's everybody expects you to be a money bag. Yes. You can be sure of that.
And that's the truth. And that is why sometimes others will not even look at the name Rachel Magola. They will look at now Obangaina particularly. Is it so difficult to balance these faces?
It is. I think that's what, now when you tell me I'm many faces, I go back to the woman at home.
Yes.
Then I remember that a lot of people do not appreciate that woman. The woman in the home cooks, cleans, takes the kids to school, takes the hospital, will go to the school to the school day meetings, parents meetings, will be the one attending the funerals, is the one who receives the in-laws. That's what we are.
Yes.
And the fact that we do not count all those different faces, we forget who we really are and get embroiled in trying to survive all these different faces. I count myself as lucky. because the different faces I have are high-profile faces. As a musician of many years, as a teacher who has churned out teachers and students, as a member of parliament now, we are the lucky ones. But there are those women out there, the women I lead in the villages, who do all these things and they are multifaceted and they survive, but we don't even pay them the respect for what they actually are.
Yes. But I love the fact that we get to know that this is a blessing, yes? This is a blessing, but that also comes with a burden.
A huge one.
Yes, and we are beginning to acknowledge as women, this is women in business, we are beginning to acknowledge that yes, we are running businesses. Yes, we have children at home. Yes, we have brothers and family members at home. And yes, in most cases, we sometimes struggle to juggle all these particular roles.
We burn out.
As women. We burn out. We cannot tell some of the people that are close to us that we are running out of fuel, running out of gas. So who do we come to? Who do we come to? Who do you go to? Who is your support system?
I guess your family, your sisters, your friends. That's why you find that women enjoy sitting together and have this long laugh about things. And people say they are gossiping. No, it is a support system for all the things that women have to deal with. When you talk to a friend and you share your burden or share your wins or your losses, you have to give away some of that burden.
Therapy.
Is therapy.
It's therapy.
It is therapy to be able to talk to people. That's why you find that people in very difficult marriages, for instance, they are very tense, they're very unhappy because that one person who they need to offload to, their pleasures, their wins and losses, is not available to them. That's why you find that in family, communication is so important, that you are able to talk to your husband, your sister, your mother, your father. You know, the family network is so important in keeping people balanced and keeping their mental health together. Actually, I'm on the forum for mental health. So when you bring that up, all this we are dealing with them, we are reading about them all the time. If you have all these roles, what do you do to make sure that you're mentally healthy? We forget ourselves, we forget our health, we don't exercise, we don't eat well, because you're busy, you're busy, you're busy. I mean, you told me you're busy this morning. Have you eaten your lunch today?
Imagine.
Have you?
I must have, nibbled on something.
Exactly. And then, because you need that fuel, you need to feed yourself, you need to be able to drink water, you need to exercise for you to be that healthy, long-lasting person without burning out. Yes. So I think women forget that, and the community forgets that. The husband comes home, kicks off his shoes, and sits and waits to be served. He does not know what his wife has been through all day.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Do you think the woman per se is taken for granted?
Very much so.
In what way?
Very much so. It is an expectation, so nobody stops to say, hey, she actually might be tired. She actually might be unhappy about something. We tend to absorb everything and then one day we just burst.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We tend to just burst. And marriages break down and they say,
and
look
no
at the woman.
knows where the bust.
And no one knows where the bust is coming from, but then no one is looking at the day-to-day activities that
you're internalizing,
that this woman has got to swallow and stay and be the steering rod for the home.
Yes.
Or the community.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's look at it from two different perspectives, because I believe you've, as a celebrity, as a teacher, as a drama actor, and all these different roles and faces that you have, you've had your time within the urban setting. With women, you've got to know with men to deal with them and have all this. And you've also been very keen, because you must survive as well. You've been very keen on empowerment, yes? You're going to give us like a sneak peek into what is happening to the urban woman. Is she actually getting empowered? Or that empowerment is a facade, it is just a facelift? Because we want to understand what you have been able to see, especially in regards to the urban woman. And then as a leader, because right now you're leading, and the majority of the women that you lead are rural. They are rural-based women. would want to find out what is happening down in Bugweri district. These are areas whereby sometimes you go in and you're like, where is women emancipation, by the way? Are we all really empowered? Is there women emancipation? Yes? And then sometimes you also meet and you talk to another woman in the urban setting, and then she tells you how the man just took all her money and beat her up and locked her up. Then you wonder, are we actually empowered as women? So we'd want to just start with the urban setting so that we can see how it goes.
Well, in the urban setting, I see a lot of empowered women, and mostly because they are educated.
Yes.
Because when somebody goes to school and they have their own income, even when they are married, they still have a level of autonomy over their resources. But that does not mean that a lot of urban women will not be in the civil service, in the work environment.
Yeah.
There are women in the shops.
Yes.
There are women selling that katogo on the roadside in the urban areas.
Yes.
With the whole women emancipation thing, we started with adding the 1 point or 2 for them to be able to
affirmative action.
Affirmative action, and then bringing more women in politics. Yes. That has changed the way people perceive women in a big way. It has brought a lot of women to the forefront of businesses, of being CEOs with companies, of being entrepreneurs, running big businesses.
But they also say this inclusion that they're talking about, political inclusion. The majority of the women that go in, yes, it's numbers, but is it actually the quality of the leaders, quote unquote? Are they actually speaking? Are they influencing the policies? Are they actually doing?
Oh, they are. They definitely are. The woman of this 2023, the woman leader of 2023 is not the woman leader of 2001. Yeah. A lot has happened. Women have become bolder about enunciating what their issues are. In Parliament, we have the Uganda Women Parliamentary Association. It's moving. It's moving legislation. It's moving everything we see affecting the women in communities. It comes to the floor of Parliament through the chairperson. I'm sure you've seen Sarah Opendi on the floor several times, yes, talking for the women and what affects women. There are a lot of organizations like women, let's see, I'm forgetting the names.
The organizations out of Parliament or within
outside Parliament?
Yes.
Outside Parliament. There's so many organizations that are empowering women. FIDA started at some point somewhere, and the wins through FIDA are unbelievable. You look at FemRight, we have women writers who are releasing books, who are, yes, we see in the creative space, we see women like Deborah Asimwe doing films and plays that are traveling the world. Yes. A lot has happened. And I like to be
optimistic person.
I'm a very optimistic person. Yes. I like to look at the good side of things because the good side encourages you to even work harder. Yeah. But that said, it does not mean that everybody has actually been emancipated. Not everybody. There's so many women in the urban area who still live in slums, yeah, on their own, single mothers everywhere. You see them with baskets of fruit, baskets of vegetable on the streets.
They are barely making a living.
They are barely making a living, and they live in the city. You know that woman is looking for fees. You know that woman is looking for some money to look after her sick mother in the village or her sick father. These women are still there. You can see that they need support, they need help.
How do you think that lady can be helped? You have seen that woman, you have spoken to her, you have literally moved into her environment, you know her by name. What do you think? Because sometimes I ask this particular question because sometimes the organizations that come in, sometimes even when they're doing their needs assessments, sometimes they have been actually lots of complaints that sometimes these assessments are not real enough.
You are spot on. There is so much money that comes into this country in terms of what comes through the international organizations. They have guidelines on what they think is going to help, yes, the women. But in reality, the situation on ground cannot fit in the guidelines.
Yes.
And a lot of women end up falling through those gaps. They cannot access these services or this support, financial support. They don't. Because the guidelines they're not looking at Uganda the way it is.
It is. They want to fit into a global concept. A
global concept. They come in with, we want to help poor women. And then they will be selected using a criteria. Does that not address that last woman, the woman I was talking about?
That actually gets to exclude her instead of
totally excluding them.
Yes.
And of course, in our communities, we also have issues where you send out leaders to go and identify the women who need support through a certain organization. And sometimes you find they're all relatives of the person who was sent out to go and find the women who need the support.
Yes.
So a lot of times, I find that most women lack of access to finance. Because she might want to set up this store by the roadside, but she does not have what the bank needs to give her money to set up that, and then she'll end up in the blacker, trying to borrow money, and then that becomes a cycle for her. She
never gets out of debt.
Exactly. She'll be in this group, in this group, gets 50,000 here, 20 there, and then by the end of the month she has to pay the other one, and then she borrows from this one to pay. So it becomes a trap, a poverty trap.
Yes.
But I know that government has tried to put up things different like women, WEP has put up the Youth Livelihood Fund, but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
We need financial institutions to have more products for that woman who has no land title, has no car logbook.
I believe there are so many, right now there are so many institutions or financial bodies right now that actually try to get down to that grassroots woman. And because they know she does not have that particular land title, yes, they say come together as a group of 20 women, yes? And because you don't have anyone to stand back and say, I know this person and this person's land is there, but you have 2-3 friends that can vouch for you, yes? 2-3 friends. They all come in, yes, this person here has this small business, she also is a farmer, and we know her, she's in our village. She wants 200,000. So Rachel and Barbara and another neighbor are going to come in and say yes. And in case she runs away with the 200,000, we shall be able to come in and track her down. As we track her down to pay that money, we can as well be able to pay up something for her. That is working very well in the villages.
Yes, it's working because, peer group financing helps because then it secures the money of whoever is giving them that money. Yeah. My problem with it sometimes is that the payback is so fast. Before whatever enterprise the woman has put the money in starts gaining traction, she has to return the money. Yeah. So most institutions, their timelines are too strict and so they are helping, but they leave them hanging at some point, and they sometimes fall back in the trap. But still, I must acknowledge that there are many organizations which are supporting women, training them in skills. Recently I was at the Goody Leisure Farm. I think you've heard about it. They have workshops where they're training women on financial literacy and training them on life skills, on how do you balance things so that you can keep going.
Practical skills.
Practical skills. And they have all these farms, small cottage farms, and they teach people how to survive that way. Yes. But still, I find that there are a lot of people who go to that workshop and she will enjoy the workshop, but when she goes back home, she goes right back to where she was before.
Why do you think that happens?
Some people, you can't save them. There are people you can't save. I'm telling you.
There are people watching, some of them are
unsavable.
There
are people that are unsavable.
They get so caught up in the excitement and then it dies.
They go to groups to see what they can get. And they leave with what they got, not the skills of dealing with what they got. So if it's money, you'll find somebody, for instance, I'm telling you, PDM money came to my constituency. Yes. And the night the day that money was given out, the shopkeepers did not close their shops till 1 a.m.
Because people were buying.
People were shopping. This money is supposed to be for investment in something. But when you take somebody for 2-3 days and you teach them about investment, that means they will learn, but they are waiting for the money.
Yes.
And when the money comes,
I
need that mattress.
Yes.
I've been sleeping on the floor. I need that blanket to feel warm.
Yes.
They'll think of those basic needs. If this part still at the bottom hierarchy of needs, shelter and food is still their issue. So they get business money, you can be sure they'll first do that basic need, and then they'll start thinking, okay, so now what next? And now the money is gone. So a lot of people have spent the PDM money on the basic needs.
So if at all, let me get this straight from what you're saying. Yes? What you're saying is if you get someone who is not able to meet their basic needs, yes? Who is does not have food at home, does not even have the basic, does not even know where the next meal is going to come from. And then you come in and generously give them 1 million.
1 million.
1 million to go and invest. The very first thing they're going to do is let us
address the basic need.
Buy the food first. Before
I've been looking forward to having a piece of meat.
Amen.
The first stop is the butcher.
And they will make sure, for God, let me thank God. Okay. I get this meat, I have not eaten it in month and month. Repeat that.
Let me just eat some meat.
Yes.
Because for them, they yearn for it. They can't afford to do it the way we buy meat every day. So creating programs and packages to take people out of poverty need serious. I know that a lot of people who create these programs, they really think.
Yes.
When it comes to implementation, that's where we usually fail.
Yeah. Everything
looks good on paper. I'm telling you, we've had PDM, we have had Youth Livelihood, we have had UWEPO, we have had Bonaba Gagawale, we have had all these programs are there to try and support and lift this person out of poverty. But you know why they always fall back?
Because the basic needs are not addressed.
Because the basic are not addressed.
The idea about it, I think, is to be able to have, to enable this person here who cannot meet their basic needs to get out of poverty so that they can have some sustainable manner of addressing their basic needs. Isn't it? Yes. But it's not working out in most cases because even what they have to invest is actually used to address their basic needs. That is what is happening in most cases.
It is happening.
Is this happening mostly in the urban places? Or, because we seem to be crisscrossing. Is it so fluid? Is it happening also in the urban places and also in the rural areas?
Urban is relative. My woman in Busesa Town Council, if she knows how to use her money, has got a level of financial literacy, will be living a better life than the urban woman in Chibuli.
Yes.
Because that is urban. But the circumstances there are far worse than the one in Busesa. And Busesa is a town council, it's not a city.
Yes.
But these are in the city. So every beta city, there will be levels of poverty or success. And there will be levels of understanding money.
Yes.
And understanding money is no easy task. It comes from training from childhood. When kids learn how to, if I have 500, my 200, I throw them in that tin and I keep it to buy a pair of shoes when I'm going back to school.
Yes.
So we as a community have failed to teach ourselves,
especially girls,
the basic principles of money. Because money is like building a house.
Math does not do that. In primary.
No, I mean, in primary school, math
doesn't
2 plus
do that.
2 is 4.
Yes.
And I've passed my exam.
Yes.
We do not
We
domesticate 2 plus 2
Oh, yes.
into real life. We are supposed to be learning things that we transfer to our day-to-day life.
Yes.
But we learn, close the book, and run out and go and play. By the time
So
we reach
never
home,
apply it.
we don't apply.
We don't
and that is
apply.
one of the biggest problems of our education system.
Oh, yes.
It is detached from reality.
Yeah.
Our education system teaches people to pass exams and look for that big job. It's not teaching them that actually it's teaching you the day-to-day.
Yes.
If you take your child to the hospital and they tell you take 2 aspirins twice a day, that's counting.
Yes.
So we don't domesticate our education. When we are learning about the color of leaves, we are learning basic things in the environment we can use for art. We can use to, you know, a long time ago they used to pound,
Yes.
and
get all the dyes.
And get the dyes from the flowers,
Yes.
from the green, from the red, so that application of education into our day-to-day, I think is one thing that is missing. That's why you find that our people, even in an urban area, they'll be in the village, cannot just function.
They can't function.
Because the education is not functional.
With that, let's take a very short break and we'll be right back after this message.